Hey, welcome back to the Crowdfunding Demystified podcast. My name is Salvador Briggman, and today we are focusing exclusively on equity crowdfunding. Man, equity crowdfunding is growing a ton. If you've never heard of it, you think of Kickstarter or Indiegogo or these types of fundraising, it's basically raising money online, except rather than giving away like a product or doing a pre-order or something like that, you're actually giving away shares of your company and people are allowed to invest in your company. So this is what's known as equity crowdfunding. And one of the major websites to do this on is StartEngine. So today I brought on an entrepreneur who has raised over $800,000 using StartEngine. And they've also done another campaign on StartEngine. They're a serial entrepreneur. They are a keynote speaker. They're an inventor. This is Dixon, and she's also a female entrepreneur. So lots of cool stuff and lots of achievements on this episode. And I kind of want to just give you an idea, like a snapshot, if you will, very quickly of what this can do for you, why this is something that's happening, why this is a new trend, and how you can use this to raise funds for your company. You don't have to go through a major venture capitalist anymore. You can actually raise money from the crowd and get actual investors. She went on to say in this episode that actually a lot of her investors didn't come as VCs with this equity crowdfunding campaign. They actually came organically and from her own marketing campaign, individual people that wanted to participate and that were also a part of her network. If you have a lot of success or you want to give your network and the ability to invest in your company, equity crowdfunding is an incredible way to do that. So we're going to get into that a little bit today, but I just want to give you a couple resources here to get you started if you are unfamiliar with equity crowdfunding, because a lot of people out there still don't know what it is. So first of all, I have a great book out there called Equity Crowdfunding Explained. This book is on Amazon. You can get a paperback or an ebook version, or you can grab a copy on Audible. So Equity Crowdfunding Explained. If you want to get an Audible version, you can just go to crowdcrux.com/equity audio. That's crowdcrux.com/equity audio. I'll be sure to include that in the show notes of this episode. In addition, I have a free course out there introducing you to the major tenets of equity crowdfunding. So if you're interested in that, just go to crowdcrux.com/equity course. That is crowdcrux.com, crowdcrux.com/equity course. And that will take you to where you can just enroll in that course. You'll start getting some free videos and free content on equity crowdfunding. Now, the biggest thing here when it comes to this new industry, this new space, is being aware of the regulations. So that's why I really recommend the guidebook that I put together, because specifically, I think there's a lot of jargon and there's a lot of big words, and like it's very confusing and it can make your head hurt. But as you know, I love to break complex topics down into really simple, actionable, no nonsense kind of explaining. So if you like the way I do that, I think you'll like my take on this entire new industry. That being said, I'm excited to get to today's interview. Tons of killer tips. And also, I think just a really inspirational story for someone who is a minority entrepreneur. They're smashing it. They're killing it. They've done multiple companies. And really just to get a peek into their mind and some of the success that they've had with StartEngine. It's coming up right after this. This podcast episode is sponsored by The Gadget Flow. The Gadget Flow reaches over 28 million people, and they've been around since 2012. They are Indiegogo and Kickstarter experts. They featured over 5,000 crowdfunding campaigns. And if you have a technology or design campaign, it is a great platform to generate awareness and get backers. You can check them out at thegadgetflow.com/submit and list your project today. Dawn, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me.
Can you describe for the listeners who are at home, what is PopCom? What do you use it for? Can you tell us a little bit about this technology you guys developed?
PopCom is essentially we make vending machines smart with our technology. So we have an operating system that utilizes facial detection and machine learning, and it calculates user engagement, emotion, gender, age, demographic, traffic patterns, general data about the customers outside of the vending machine to really help and let retailers gain more insight on their customers.
So in terms of like how this differs from a regular vending machine, would it give you better choices as a consumer? Would it just kind of track and like if you go to another vending machine, kind of predict what you're going to be interested in? How does it work that way?
It just focuses on helping, like Google Analytics does for websites. It just helps the retailer understand what's going on at their exact machine and how customers are converting and how traffic, patterns and how customers are engaging. I mean, essentially, yes, as there is a large data set, It'll be able to predict or understand customer shopping habits, but essentially it's just to deliver targeted messaging and content and product suggestions and understand customers behaving on the particular vending machine. And we're talking about vending machines that sell products, not soda.
So what other kinds of products usually would these be vending machines that are in like, sometimes I'll go to the airport and I'll see selling like iPads and those kinds of things, the vending machines. You mean those kinds?
Yeah, I mean, they could sell anything. So, I can't really speak for what people will want to sell, but you can sell anything in a vending machine. Basically, package size between a ring box and a hat box. So that's a lot of different products that could be dispensed out of a vending machine. So, of course, like you said, you've seen at the airport, people's Best Buy machines, cosmetic and beauty machines, baby item vending machines, clothing vending machines, jewelry. So many products can be sold in a vending machine. It's really to be looked at as a new direct to customer distribution method.
Yeah, I see it. I see it happening a lot more. Also, you go to countries in Asia, and it's just like a mainstay there. You go to Japan, like you can get anything in a vending machine. It's crazy.
Yeah, China as well.
Definitely. When it comes to the look and feel of the product, is it something that just like hooks up with your existing vending machine, or is it like a whole new interface?
Yeah, it's an operating system. So it can integrate into our hardware, which is the Pop Shop, which is a very unique type of vending machine, or it can integrate into existing hardware or, brand new hardware. So it's essentially an operating system. It's what makes the machine work.
And how long have you guys been working on this for?
I've been working on the software technology since 2017.
Okay. And in terms of the tests that you have done, have you guys worked with other companies that are kind of trying this out in the field? Has this all been on your own home turf? You've been testing it. How have you been doing that?
We've taken the machines out to trade shows and, to test it and to prove the concept and to take orders, but we don't have any machines out live yet in the market. They'll be out in the market this year.
What kind of response are you guys getting when you show them off at trade shows?
They definitely always steal the show. I mean, there's no vending machines that do what ours do and have the technology that we have. So people are always really impressed by the analytics that we collect and the accuracy of the information we collect.
And for you specifically, obviously you're probably wearing a lot of different hats, but what's your role when it comes to the company?
I'm the CEO, the founder and CEO. So it was my idea, and I just oversee the team and work with different team members to, execute the vision.
Why did this problem get your attention specifically?
I come from a retail background. I was selling my own products called Flat Out of Heels and vending machines, and I wanted better technology and I wanted better machines, and they didn't exist. So I decided to create my own company to solve that problem.
Now, in terms of coming from a retail background, a lot of retail is understanding customer buying behaviors, making deals, sales, marketing, et cetera. Did you have the technical background also, or is that a team that you had to assemble?
I have a tech background, but I'm not a developer. I'm not a full stack developer. And plus, as CEO, you really need to be focused on running the business. So I did go out and hire and build a team.
When it comes to the funding for the project in the company, is this your first round that you guys raised on StartEngine, or have you done rounds before?
Yeah, we raised over $1 million from accredited angels and venture capital. Then we raised a round on StartEngine last year in 2019. We raised over $1.070 million, which is the legal limit for Reg CF. And I was the first female founder to do that, to raise over $1 million in the Reg CF campaign. And now we're raising again, and we're almost at 900,000 after about 40 days.
Nice. Congratulations. I think it's a really big milestone. And also it's a really new way of even approaching, I think, fundraising. Most people are kind of going the tried and true Regulation D, angel investing, VC, but they don't really explore crowdfunding, it seems.
I mean, crowdfunding is not as easy as it sounds. You have to have a network. You have to have a strategy. So, people just have to pick the avenue for raising capital that best works for them, and, not counting out crowdfunding if you have a network.
So a lot of the people listening to this show might be wondering, okay, so you did one raise on StartEngine. This is your second one. What's the difference? Like, why is it you guys came back to the platform? How is this going to further accelerate the growth of the company and such?
We came back because we were only able to raise $1.070 million under the legal limits under Reg CF, but a fast growing technology company needs more than $1 million in capital. So after the 12-month period was up, we went back to raise more. We had oversubscribed our last round, so we already had over $200,000 in commitments on the platform that was just sitting and waiting for us to open a round. So it just made sense for us to do that. But high growth technology companies, especially in my industry, raise 10, 20 plus $1 million.
Was there a reason you guys decided to go the equity crowdfunding route as aside from going and approaching a larger venture capitalist?
Yeah, we did raise money through VC, as I said, over $1 million, but I just decided to raise through crowdfunding because I really wanted to level the playing field and bridge the gap between everyday people and VC and open up my company to build wealth in, my community, my network. And I have a very strong network, and I knew that I could um, raise more money without giving up so much. VC they want a lot of equity, they want a lot of your business, they often want a board seat, and I didn't want to give up those things.
When it comes to those who are thinking of participating in your equity crowdfunding campaign, why do you think they should join? Like, what do you get out of backing PopCom on StartEngine?
You get equity, so it's an investment. You're a part of an early stage technology company that has high growth and has really good traction at our stage. Even pre-launch, we have had commitments from major customers that we work with, and but it definitely needs to align. It's not a get rich quick. It's not a quick investment. It's not a flip. There's no dividends paid. It is money that you invest for the future if you believe in what we're doing. And we've already grown our valuation from 8 million last year to 25 million this year. So we're growing, and if someone believes in it, they can definitely join our investment community.
For someone who's just getting started with this, and you say there's no dividends, is there a way for them to eventually get the cash out of their shares? Like, are you planning to, do a buyback in the future, or is this when your company is sold or IPO? Like, when do people cash out with their shares?
When we have a liquidity event, or if the SEC opens up a secondary, ATS exchange that allows you to trade private equity on an exchange similar to NASDAQ and New York Stock Exchange. I mean, it's something that's being proposed through legislation, but it's not approved yet. But until then, as with any private equity investment, you receive your money back when a company exits or IPOs or merges or does a buyback. I don't know for sure if any of those things are going to happen because it's all a risk. We don't know if we're going to IPO. We don't know if we're going to merge. We've had acquisition offers, but we don't know exactly the details because we're still building the product and building the company. But we certainly, all of us are a part of this team and this company, not for nothing, so we all see a path to liquidity and exit for ourselves. And, all of that is really disclosed in the Form C documents. I mean, every possible risk and all of our strategy moving forward. So I encourage people to really read it and be familiar with the company inside and out.
Mm-hmm. If you're worried about the fulfillment and shipping part of your Kickstarter campaign when it comes to getting out all those perks and rewards to your backers, rest assured, I've put together a complete Kickstarter fulfillment and shipping checklist for you, and it's free. This is sponsored by the folks at Fulfillrite, and they thought that you should have this checklist as part of your arsenal going into a crowdfunding campaign. If you want to get instant access to this checklist and it's free, you can go to fulfillrite.com/checklist. Again, that is fulfillrite.com/checklist. Fulfillrite.com/checklist. Just go to that link and you can download it immediately. For those that are also interested, will it be something where you guys are releasing like regular communications? Like, I think one of the biggest downsides would be like if you invest in a company and then you just don't really know what's happening right behind the scenes. And if you're like a smaller investor, you obviously don't have the same level of communication and access. Like, do you guys do updates? Do you have a Facebook group or something like that? How do you communicate with investors?
Yeah, all my investors have equal access to information. I send a monthly update, and we also do have a private Facebook group. And so I send updates and post information on Facebook. But, these investors in StartEngine have the same class of stock as my VC investors. No one is above anyone else. They have the same class of stock as my team and I. So, we're very open and transparent, but we do email once a month, a comprehensive company update.
For launching the project, I mean, you guys obviously had like a really massive race here. You've had a lot of success. You have really innovative technology. What would you say is one of the bigger contributing factors to you getting funded so quickly? Is it the fact you had to like prime the pump? Is it from your marketing? Where do you think that's coming from?
I've been an entrepreneur, 20 years now. It's my fourth business. I have a very strong network of strong track record. I have very large social media followings, and I'm a marketer and I have a great marketing team. So, I'm a thought leader in the space. So I've done a lot of thought leadership pieces, been published, have extensive media coverage, not just now, but consistently through my career. We definitely had a Facebook advertising strategy, but we didn't start advertising on Facebook till after we raised our first $250,000. So the first 250, then we started advertising. So all of those things combined are the reason why we were able to achieve this, these milestones pretty quickly.
I think when it comes to Facebook advertising, that's something that people are always like a little bit iffy about because there are things you can say and you can't say, right? When you're doing an ad. Like, what were those looking like? Were you just saying this is an opportunity, go and check it out on StartEngine? What was those ads kind of the messaging there?
Yeah. I mean, we did multiple A/B testing on different messages and we've seen what message resonates the best with the audience and converts the best with our target audiences. So just, bringing attention, invest in the future of retail. Click here for more information. Very brief, highlighting some of our accomplishments, showing the product, some of the awards we've won, just to get people's attention. And then they click onto the page. We've had over 50,000 people visit our offering page in the past month.
When it comes to StartEngine, are you able to retarget on the page?
I don't know about StartEngine. We just run the ads on Facebook and we have a pixel.
Okay. Yeah, I was just kind of curious
because I'm not the person that does that.
Yeah, I was just curious because like on Indiegogo, I know you can do that. On Kickstarter, you can. I wasn't sure if on StartEngine that was something they allowed or not. Yeah, I was just kind of curious there. So one of the questions I had for you here when it comes to your history, because you've started a lot of businesses in the past, you're a serial entrepreneur. What part of the process do you find most enjoyable? Like, what are you most passionate about here? I mean, you've done so many, you have a lot of accolades and a lot of accomplishments here. What for you is, gives you the most feeling of enjoyment?
I really love building teams. I love seeing a product come from my mind as an idea and come to life. And regardless of the industry, I have businesses across several industries. None of them really correlate. But I love just coming up with an idea and seeing it happen and come to life and solving a real problem. Something that people are excited about. When the customers see, the pop shop and our solution, they get really excited. And that is definitely makes everything worth it.
What do you think is the commonality between those ideas that you've pursued and that have turned out well versus maybe some of the projects you've worked on that just haven't?
I've never had a project that didn't work out, knock on wood. So I carefully choose what I do and what I focus my attention on. And I make sure I have a deep understanding of the market, of the customers, of, the scalability, of any barriers to entry. So I assess situations before I enter them, and all of my businesses have been successful.
With your other businesses, were you also a part of that industry before you created the solution?
Yeah, as I mentioned, I was a retailer myself selling shoes and vending machines. So I was a customer. I was who my customers are. So I built the product to solve my problem that I was experiencing, which was lack of innovative hardware and lack of software to understand customer data analytics and do lead generation and have a deeper understanding of who my customers are. So yes, I was in the retail industry. And then I also have a restaurant and a consulting company and worked, nonprofit fundraising management as a consultant, also a professional speaker and do workshops. So they're all very different, rely on different areas of expertise that I have.
It seems like retail is changing a lot nowadays. Like there are a lot of new innovations when it comes to cannabis, even the way that alcohol is sold, particularly with like coronavirus now, e-commerce, more and more people are ordering online and very comfortable with that. What innovations do you guys see that are going to disrupt this in the future?
In retail with social distancing, this is a great time to implement kiosks and vending machines. So more businesses are implementing self-checkouts, self-ordering, automated retail, curbside pickup, pay in advance. So that's going to continue and it's going to accelerate. but nothing that's extremely different. The only thing I can really see in my industry is the availability now of screens that are antibacterial, or you don't have to touch them. You can use them with gloves or cover your hand or use a stylus or a pen. And just, again, with the public's climate around like spreading of germs and social distancing, just taking those preventative measures in retail.
One of the ones I've noticed is augmented reality, and the way that now you can just open up an app and you can like see something that you're going to buy, basically. You know, it'd be so cool to be able to do that in the future. If you could inspect or look at a technology gadget before you order it from the vending machine, right? So I think there's a lot with augmented reality maybe in the future.
Definitely. And that doesn't really align with our business and vending because you're in front of it, but certainly in a virtual online environment.
For those out there that want to launch a StartEngine campaign, what words of advice would you impart to them?
You have to have money to start the campaign. You have to have money to market the campaign, and, you know, make sure that your due diligence and documents are organized prior to even attempting to do any type of fundraise, especially crowdfunding, and your financials are organized and prepared for the past few years or however long you've been in business, and just have a marketing strategy. It's not good. People are not going to just come out of nowhere. It's not a situation where you post a campaign and people automatically come. It's certainly a lot of work. So be prepared to work.
Did you have your existing investors in terms of like angel investors and VCs? Did you have them kind of prime the pump with the project?
No, this was totally out of their wheelhouse. They don't know anything about this. Traditional investors aren't familiar at all with crowdfunding. So this was something that I did, you know, independent of them.
Okay, interesting. Because we've heard that, from other campaigns as one way to sort of get funding a little bit in the early stages there. But yeah, so it seems like you guys just had kind of an organic success. And also you have your existing community, which I imagine some of those investors from your other project sort of piled into this one. Is that right?
We had a lot of repeat investors from the first round and then a lot of new ones. So, I mean, obviously I have over 3,000 investors. I really don't honestly know who they all are and where they came from.
Yeah, definitely. Hard to track. Cool.
Yeah, it is.
Well, for those that are interested in learning more, where can they go to find out more about your products and some of the solutions that you guys are developing there?
Definitely. You can find us on StartEngine, startengine.com/PopCom, POPCOM. And then, of course, you know, Google is our friend. Definitely Google us, see some of the things that we've been doing, some of the media. We have a great YouTube page of a lot of product demos. There's not product demos on StartEngine because it doesn't allow you to have more than one video. So we have our own page, youtube.com/PopCom SAAS.
Awesome. Thank you for coming on the show and sharing some of those tips.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. I encourage everyone to definitely look into crowdfunding as a solid way to raise money.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Crowdfunding Demystified podcast. Again, my name is Salvador Briggman. Thank you for tuning into this episode of the Crowdfunding Demystified show. I hope that you took at least a little bit of inspiration away from this interview in the way that, number one, anyone out there can raise money. Number two, even if you're a female entrepreneur, you're a minority entrepreneur, there are no excuses. You have all the education at your disposal. You have the will, you have the hunger, you have great mentors out there. You have people who are willing to help you on the path that I think nowadays, if you're willing to, you can actually set up a company anywhere pretty much in the world, as long as you have a Wi-Fi access and you have the ability to network and to really start to think a little bit about the problem that you're solving. And also, I think that equity crowdfunding in general is a huge opportunity for many entrepreneurs out there. It's an alternative form of raising money. There are new things out there like equity crowdfunding, like ICOs, etc. And it's just so fascinating to me that this is something that's becoming much more mainstay in the entrepreneurial culture in general. So if you're interested in learning more about this topic of equity crowdfunding, like I mentioned in the beginning, I have a great book out there called Equity Crowdfunding Explained, where I go in depth, step by step, in number how to actually do these projects, how to raise money, how to do the marketing, etc. But also the behind the scenes when it comes to the regulations and understanding that so you can pursue the best platform for you and for your project. So a lot of great stuff. If you're interested, go and check it out at crowdcrux.com/equity audio. That is crowdcrux.com/equity audio, and that link will take you to where you can pick up a copy of Equity Crowdfunding Explained. In addition, I have a free course out there walking you through some of the major tenets when it comes to raising money using equity crowdfunding. You can check it out at crowdcrux.com/equity course. That's crowdcrux.com/equity course. And that will take you to some free content, free videos, free information when it comes to this new way of raising funds. You also get to see a photo of me when you go to that link, checking my phone, which was like the first time I ever did a photo shoot, I think, in New York City. So I was always feeling really awkward when I was taking those photos. So just the added bonus, you get to see me looking a little bit awkward there. But I appreciate you, man. Thank you for tuning into this episode. Give me a rating and review if you liked it, and I'll see you next time.